Hello, welcome to On the Creative Road. I'm Brenda Harris, and today is day 19 of 30 Days of Art warm-ups. I'm like, oh, we're getting through it. So day 19, and we're gonna bring the energy down a little bit. Yesterday was a faster energy. We timed ourselves and we were painting some prompts. And today we're gonna do a little bit, I don't wanna say pattern, but we're gonna work on shapes, which will inevitably kind of look like a pattern because we'll be repeating shapes, just working on a little bit of focus and more calm energy. So let's go. Let's paint some squares. Easy peasy, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just gonna do different blocks of squares and I can stack them however I want. Think Tetris, just different blocks that will stack together. And I left a little border. I suppose you don't have to leave a border, but I left a little border around them. And I'm going to show you both watercolor and acrylic just so you can see both options. They work a little differently, but I think they will give you the same calming effect. Basically, you're just doing something repetitive. You're doing something that's like a puzzle. It's just easy peasy. I'm not trying to figure out proportions, just putting it wherever it lands. I'm gonna go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes. And on the left, you're going to see the watercolor version, and on the right, you're gonna see the acrylic version. I'm gonna try to kind of stick to the same colors and the same layout slightly, but I'm not going for perfection here. Today I'm going for a more relaxing pace. I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to feel stressed. I'm going for peace and repetition and harmony of color and balance of hues and mainly just time to just breathe. And I'm using, my palette is just a little wood palette I already used a different day. It's going to be fun to see these side by side. Watercolor is definitely a different texture than an acrylic. Acrylic has that, and I don't have any water mixed in right now, so acrylic definitely has a thicker application, and I kind of like that about it. But I don't want watercolor to get jealous over here because I really enjoy watercolor as well. They're just different, you know? It's like asking your kids which one do you like better. It's like they're both just wildly different and fun to work with in different ways. And I could potentially do any shape, but I want to do squares. And they can be wonky. They don't have to be perfectly square. But I do want the edges to be round. You could also let your brush dictate what shape you make. So this is a fairly square, it's angled, but it's a fairly straight edge. So it helps you make a square, a rectangle, or a sharper edge. I'm fighting a bit of a cold, which made me skip a few days. But the point of these warm-ups are not to be stressed or not to feel like they're supposed to be a certain way. The point of these warm-ups were selfishly for myself just to have a fun little start to my art practice, a consistent art practice, and I want to share it with whoever needs it. I'm a strong believer in the magic that happens when you put something out there and somebody who needs to see it sees it. I could probably do better at marketing for sure, and perhaps I'll get better at that along the way. But right now with my schedule and my parenting life and my other job duties, my other creative duties, this is where I'm at with it right now. It's just fun when what you're painting doesn't have any rules surrounding it. Just doing squares. There's nothing complicated about this. If I was painting something like a face or a dog, then for sure suddenly there's some rules, right? There's some proportions that I need to think about. And then suddenly I need to worry about whether it resembles something. This doesn't have to resemble anything, just squares basically. So there's no right or wrong. It's just fun shapes. Like I said, it reminds me of just Tetris. And if it goes funky, then oh well, who cares? Either way, who cares? It's just art in general is just fun play. It should never feel so stressful that you are like feeling anxious. You shouldn't feel anxious. If anything, it should just feel like a release of energy. I'm a firm believer that there are things that are just nonverbal. I think that's why art is such an important part of therapy that a lot of people don't tap into. And it's because there's nonverbal energy. How do I explain it to my kids? They must look at me like, Mom, what are you talking about? But I think sometimes there's feelings and emotion and experiences that get stuck in a mental drain. And sometimes the only way to get it out is to paint or some people run. I think that's a good way of getting it out too. But some people run, and it's like you need to somehow get it out. And I think maybe that's where it is. I guess I'm getting to the bottom of this with you. I think it's when you are able to go into that zone out place, that you can really benefit. And maybe it's not, critical thinking, but it is, my brain coordinating these moves, and figuring out this mixing of the color over here. That all takes some mental focus. And right now, talking and painting is taking some focus. And hopefully I'm not annoying you too much, but I just want to explain the process and explain why it's so important to drain that mental gunk we all have in our heads. I think we all have that mental drain, right? We're just living all these experiences and going through our day, and sometimes we have a good day and sometimes we have a bad day. But either way, we have these feelings collecting, and they're not always processed. Like sometimes we have a really good chat with a friend or our spouse or whoever, our siblings or something, or just somebody that we love and cares about us is like, hey, how are you doing? How was your day? And you get that opportunity to say, it was a hard day. It was not an easy day. It was a hard day, and I was angry because XYZ happened. And you basically get the chance to express whatever it is that is just taking up real estate in your mind. And sometimes you don't have that. I don't know, you don't have the chance to talk with someone. You don't get the chance to express those feelings of frustration or sadness, or I don't know. Sometimes there's not even a word. There's no word. It's not anger. It's not frustration. There's not an English word. There's not an English or other language word. It's a feeling. It's an energy. There's no way to express it. I like both of these. They're so different. Oh. And maybe you think I'm crazy. Like maybe you're like, what are you talking about? But I do. I'm just a believer that there's these nonverbal things and they're happening all the time. And unless you make an effort to get it out somehow, and some people run and some people work out, do like intense workouts, and some people go hiking, there's like a physical way of getting it out. And I think it takes going to that place. Like there's like a secret door in your brain. And I think it happens when you're being creative too. I think there's many ways to reach that secret door. But one of the ways I think is through this type of work, is through letting yourself go there, go to just like a hyper focus, or just like a more open place with your heart where you're open to doing something that's new and fresh and hasn't been done. Art's always new and fresh no matter what you're working on. You're working on something that hasn't been painted before, at least not in the same way. There's no way to do something exactly the same way every time. Be really hard to do. That in itself would take a lot of practice and technique. It's kind of like a ballet. Like you could certainly practice it over and over and have the same technique, but who's to say on any given night that you do it just a little bit different than the last time. Even this, I'm kind of following this right one, but I'm also just doing it my own way. And so there's a little bit of a different color to it. And what color am I missing? I feel like I'm missing a color. I actually had a busy day today. I went and did a school visit to talk about children's book illustrations. So something like this is actually, for me, is not so much a starter. It's kind of what I'm ending my day with. And it's nice. It's nice to just have something calm to turn to. Especially when I'm balancing it against the excitement of the kids. The kids are so excited. They're always excited to hear about the process of children's book making and like how much time it takes to make things, and they have fantastic questions to ask at the end. Moving slower than I expected. And I guess it's because I think I expected to go faster, because some of our past warm-ups have been a little bit faster, more rushed energy. And today it is not. Today I'm letting myself go slow and more deliberate. Do I like this color? It's very warm. Kind of mixed in with that cream. I like it though. I think I am liking it. Let's try it over here. Let's see what happens. So I hope you let yourself do things like this more often, where you just kind of let go of expectation and there's no real worry or specific way it's supposed to look. It's just little squares or little dots, and you just get to This does not look like a square. I probably need a smaller brush right here, but it's okay. Just a little spot there. And there we go. You know, this color technically shouldn't be here. I probably should extend that yellow, but by the time I mix that yellow just right, it's not gonna look the same. So I'm just gonna fill it like that, and that's totally okay. All right, so kind of similar, but I used acrylic on the right-hand side and watercolor on the left-hand side, but same effect, same release of energy on my part, and it's just relaxing and fun and a great warm-up for any day. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.